Morning everybody, it's Romero17 and I'm going to bring you this video how to deal with a more advanced version of a player that's really consistent with using jab setups for their game plan. I'm going to refuse to call it jab spamming because there's a lot of ways to deal with this said style, but it takes a lot of patience and you have to be willing to brawl. The player I'm fighting against is somebody who's ranked number 7 on ranked championships, XXLuBu XX0, also known as E Gonzalez AA. Now, this is his alt account. I don't know what happened to his main account, but I'm familiar with this because I've seen it on the Ricky J tournament. I already know how he plays. And just to get things kicked off, the reason why this style is effective, it's really effective off of 3 things. It's getting you to overreact. The fighter that they have tends to have a really high level jab, either level 3 or level 4, and usually has like higher altitude. And especially in a 5-round fight, this type of matchup tends to be a nightmare, especially for players who are trying to counter right away. So what's gonna be my game plan heading into this fight? Well, knowing that what my opponent does, he's extremely consistent with his game plan. There's also a specific set of combinations that he likes to cycle through based on what you're doing, and I'm aware of that. Now, if you're wondering where the hell's my HUD, well, I was fighting Ed Parker last night, and we did a few no HUD fights. And I walked into this first ranked fight of the day with no HUD. So this first round, I'm going to have to deal with this without even being able to see my HUD. If what you're noticing here, I'm noticing how he's going up and down his block. So the best way to take advantage of somebody who's going up and down on the block and just trying to pressure you with distance, you want to alternate body head or head body, or you could double up on the head. If you notice, I'm switching up between body jab up top with a lead hook. I'll occasionally go jab straight. I'll occasionally go jab lead hook. And wherever I see him block, if he blocks an initial strike, I'm going to time it based on what his reaction was to the last strike. So it's a little bit tough to comprehend, but I'm playing off of where he's looking to block. If you notice, my block isn't really going up, down like his. And if you notice, I'm swinging to the inside. I didn't throw any counters yet, but I want to see how he reacts. There's 3 things you have to worry about, especially when you're fighting, say, a Tony Ferguson or like a Max Holloway. They have these spins, but these spins take a lot of stamina. So it's usually done in the later rounds when your head health is really skewed. So he's not going to overcommit and do any big strikes like that. Another good combination to use against these set of players is going jab, rear body, uppercut. And when you feel that they're going to come in with the jab, that's when you should fire off a leg kick. But you have to be extremely consistent with this game plan, and you want to control the center of the octagon. Notice that I'm not allowing him to push me back into the against the cage. If he pushes me back against the cage and I allow him to kind of piece me up with 4-hit combinations, it's going to be a bad night for me. And the block is a lot stronger than most people believe. So whenever I feel that, alright, he might fire off a body kick or he might fire up a good barrage of strikes, I'm just going to stay real close to him and just rely on my block. Ed just sent me an invite. And right there, I hit that little check hook that I hit in my last video with Nate Diaz. And again, we're going to go with another jab, rear body, uppercut. Again, the whole game plan is not to overreact to the jabs. Don't overreact to him. Play, kind of use it against him. Notice that I don't care if he blocks the other 2 strikes because those other 2 strikes are landing on the block and my stamina is going to be fine. If I can just slowly chip away at his head health, I know it's extremely hard to get to the body, but it has to be kind of like a workmanship type of commitment to this. I have to be consistent with my game plan. And notice I'm not allowing him to push me back against the cage. You see that? I get to the black line and I fire back 3 or 4 hit strikes. Here, this is where you gotta relax. Try to go for a slip hook, and I sway away from the body kick. Now I go back to switch my HUD on. I had everything off. I had literally everything was off. This entire first round, I had nothing on. So I had a good idea where my stamina would be at, because you notice I landed above. I had a 50%, above 50% in terms of landing my strikes. So heading into this next round, even though I had no HUD, I came into the next round with full stamina. Another reason why this playstyle is so effective is because it doesn't take too much from the stamina pool. Because jabs are very simple strikes to watch. See that combination he throws there? That jab, rear hook, lead uppercut, that slow mode? That combo is extremely efficient for him. Another one is that jab, jab, straight lead hook. So with the first combination, the whole point is not to counter. If he goes jab, hook, you do not want to counter after the jab. This is, if you try to slip your head against the initial jab, that combo is going to frame trap you and it's going to leave you screwed. The second combination, the jab, jab, straight lead hook, you could conceivably slip the second strike, but it leaves you vulnerable to getting hit by that jab, rear hook, lead uppercut. So the best thing to do is to slip the second jab and land a straight of your own, because he doesn't really go jab, jab, rear hook. But I will keep a mental note of that if he does that later in the fight. And I notice, you see here, I'm standing my ground. In these jabs, they don't really do as much damage. Even my block is relatively fine. But he's making very consistent effort to always, whether he's in punching range or kicking range, he's leading in with the double jab from kicking range. That's another mental note I gotta keep my head on. So game plan again. The game plan again. Always, I gotta stay consistent with my own. If I see my head health gets chipped a little bit, I'm gonna recover, hold my block, but I'm not gonna allow him to push me to the cage. Noticing that I'm circling with my left stick to stay inside this black center line. I'm only gonna move forward on my third strike if I feel he starts to back up. And again, I'm alternating between body head and head body. Throw up a knee up the middle. And this can be extremely annoying to deal with, but it also, you got to give the guy credit. It takes a lot to be consistent with this and play with almost everybody you fight with. But there's always a way around everything. Landing up the leg kicks if I feel that he's queuing up a jab. Let my stamina recover. There's that jab, jab, straight knee hook. Now he tried to go for the jab uppercut like I said earlier. Now, boom, he hits me with a slip straight hook. But he didn't do as much damage. So what does that mean? That means either his stamina's low, or I racked up enough leg health damage that his damage has been reduced. In this game, when you damage the legs, especially when somebody's coming in with a jab, it reduces their power once it gets down to about like 50% or so. And that's exactly what happened there. That was a solid counter from him, but it barely did anything. Again, I'm going back here. I'm staying patient. It's always a game of patience. In 3-round fights, you can usually just kind of grapple against certain players, but it's more so about the 5-rounders, because the 5-rounders, you can catch yourself gassed, overreacting to all of the jabs.
There's a nice leg kick. Very impressive.
Good, you're heading the cards. And he picked up the tempo a little bit there, but I still outlanded him. Now this is the round. In a 5-round fight, the guy who's kind of working the jab, this is when they start to work the body. You're so focused on working the jab, when you try to slip, they're going to start working the body. There he starts to cue up jab, hook, hook. Now he's trying to get me to overreact. Again, I'm not going to allow him to get me to focus on countering him. I got to fire it back. There he throws a jab in that extremely close punching range, and I fire it off an uppercut hook. Over here it goes jab, rear hook, uppercut. Duck the jab, slip the uppercut. Again, he separates, he creates that distance, backs away, comes in from kicking range and make him eat a front kick, and this fight is done. Patience, consistency, alternating from the head to the body, and just making sure you don't get flustered when you come across players like this that are extremely consistent with their game plans, especially when it comes to the jab. Romero 17, this is how to beat the high level jab based players. Drop a like on the video. I'm out of here.